Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Sonic Unleashed Eggmanland. If you ever heard of this level, it was probably tinged with trepidation. If you have ever played it, you know why. Today we'll dive into the Mad Doctor's theme park fever dream realized and find out together, great start, how it earned its reputation. First we have to do a little bit of combat as we infiltrate the underworlds with daytime Sonic. And I screw up the lightspeed dash immediately and now have to fight these guys because I can't get it to work anymore. Great stuff. Maybe an air boost? No, that doesn't work because the targeting reticule is merciless, so let's put this behind us and do a quick time event, which I'm pretty sure if you fail you die. If I don't jump here, I will land on a lower segment. We can see this here for a second loading in. Whoops, I barely saw this one. But I'm not skipping these rails, and instead we are not going to see that lower part. There is a whole shebang with all of these platforms. We see a glimpse of them here as I failed to do the final shortcut, and we're going to be a little bit in this lower segment here. As you can see above, there is a lot more to skip, a lot more top route. And I can't show off everything right now, even though I actually really wanted to, because you can't replay this level until you beat the game. But due time. For now I'm struggling with this conveyor belt segment, which I am pretty sure I have always skipped previously when I played this level, because I didn't remember this at all, and I failed to account for one, thank you, very specific thing here, one problem that I keep having with this engine. When you boost and then jump, then Sonic loses the boost. You have to repress the boost button, but I keep forgetting, and this is what kept killing me here on this conveyor belt segment. No matter, we're done with that, and we are switching gears completely, and this is the biggest gimmick of this stage, the one time this happens in this game. Absolutely brilliant. We are now playing as the Werehog in the same level as we previously started as Daytime Sonic. The charge attack didn't work here. The enemies here are very aggressive. They are at their strongest, as you can tell. Even all of these combos, which used to obliterate an entire group of enemies, are not actually doing that much anymore, and I have definitely kept up with leveling. I have been making sure to balance everything out, get all of the combat moves and so on, but no, the enemies here are just very tough. This first part here, actually, these dudes you don't actually have to kill if you realize that you can just keep swinging, but that's something that I won't do on the very first go around. Of course, I will take my time and see if I actually need to kill anything or not. And that's the big secret of Eggmanland. This recording session was 45 minutes long, which is actually probably on the shorter end of things, because I've heard of many people who were stuck here for hours on end, but no, I kind of know how to play the game and I have done this before. But you can, in principle, beat this level in 10 minutes if you know all of the shortcuts and hit them, if you know all the tricks, know which enemies to skip as the Werehog. This all won't help you if you don't find the lever. Again, this has been a while since I played this, but overall this could be shortened a lot. So anytime that you're like, yeah, this is a little bit tedious what he's doing here. Here for example, I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to do a backstab and it didn't even work, worthless mechanic. In principle, what I could have done is run to the lever and push the button quickly enough so the enemies don't hit me out of there, and then activate the next part of the level. Instead, what I'm doing is wasting their Unleashed shoes, like getting rid of these guys fairly quickly. That's great stuff, definitely, no problem here, but I don't know yet how the level is structured off the top of my head, and that means that the next combat segment I will be out of juice, and there is nothing I can really do to prevent that, because as you're going to see in a second, there is going to be a very slow segment with no combat, which I can't speed up, so I couldn't even have saved it. Yes, we are going to ride these sources here. Again, a very nice detail of this mad theme park ride, where you can tell that there is actually hot lava in these sources, and we have to keep hanging on the side as they jankily jitter from one end to the other. Very weird stuff. I don't know why they couldn't program it better, but well, I mean, I'm not a programmer. It's fine. And here we have another perversion of the typical theme park ride of the sources, where they are filled with fire again, but now also spook set fire. And I'm being accosted by a combination of ranged guys and melee guys who with their chainsaws hit fairly hard. And what we have here basically is a repeat of a known design element which we barely saw ever since the streets of Rooftop Run Night, where we had a similar setup. However, there the enemies were much easier to kill, so it didn't really feel that difficult, but it definitely is here. And the jumping attacks of the chainsaw dudes, as I am busy taking apart the ranged guy who can tank fairly well, you really need to be aware that these do a lot of damage and it adds up very quickly. So keep your shield button ready, because you are definitely going to need it here. As you can tell, I'm quite happy actually that for once in a playthrough I did upgrade my shield significantly, because I am using that almost down to the last nub here. And here, in contrast to before, you do have to kill all of these guys, because otherwise you can't access the lever to make the platform rise, which we just saw. I'm just picking up a few things here because it can't hurt to be healed in full. So this is a fight you can't skip, and this is why the strong recommendation is to save the unleash meter for here. Alright, while these platforms, the sources shoot at me, you can tell it's not that much damage, but again it adds up. We are riding the platform up here, and now I know you can't take the spring as Nighthawk, so I'm switching to Dayhawk, and I'm very careful here because I have died here before because of stuff like that. Man, Daytime Sonic just accelerates real quick, and the hitbox for the spring is rather small. So yeah, this was really annoying because I had to redo a lot. Yeah, there is of course a checkpoint immediately after the switch, by the way. So this is why I said save your unleashed juice, just showing off how much more efficient you can be if you plan ahead in this level, which obviously I can't do on that semi-blind run that I keep recording here. But yeah, just with a little bit of hindsight, you can shorten this a lot. And this is a running theme for the entire level, which is what I really appreciate about it. Yeah, it's a long grueling gauntlet, as I said, if you make it speedy, like not speedrun optimization, glitching through level parts, but just shortcuts that might or might not be intended. Do it as efficiently and quickly as possible. You can get it down to 10 minutes, but 10 minutes is still a lot, right? Like, I'm not saying this can be shortened into a small level. There is a lot of ground to cover, there is a lot of mandatory combat to do, but it is not the mandatory 45-minute behemoth that people are always making it out to be, and I really do appreciate that it is basically, it scales with your skill. So yeah, jump, get the reticule, and then we can talk about this. These things here are a huge part of the 2D Daytime Sonic segments. We're going to see a lot more of them, and yeah, if they hit you, they kill you, by the way, so be careful of that. We see here in this level also some of the hardest wall jumping segments, which is bad because the wall jumping kind of sucks, but here at the very least you can just keep wall jumping, you don't have to time. Here, however, this segment here, oh boy, I'm going to struggle with this, I can already tell you. First of all, the spring gets in the way as I'm trying to dash into the wall to start the wall jumps, and then, well, it looked great, right? I picked up all of the ring trails, and then I still got hit at the top. Because you have to be extremely careful here. The game is not actually playing itself. You are not just hitting the buttons after the initial jumps. You have to make sure that you are either letting yourself drop down a little bit. I keep jumping over this. Yes, thank you. Because I do remember in the past I actually did skip over this accidentally and had to redo a bunch more. Great stuff, smart boy. Anyway. We are now in this part of the level where we are actually riding in again, Twisted Theme Park attraction. We are going to see this later as well in future Sonic games because it was just so successful. Astro Coaster in Sonic Colors, for example, is built around this idea, but Eggmanland did it first, and must I say, with a lot more panache, and also this is actually difficult. Yeah, this is of course reusing the mechanics from the otherwise a little bit tepid Holoska stage. I completely blanked on the name here. Cool Edge, that's it. Sorry about that. But yeah, as you can tell here, If you get hit and have 0 rings, then yeah, these obstacles can actually kill you, and I just got hit again and I missed all of the rings, and oops. You can jump over these, by the way, I just didn't know that. I watched a video of somebody do that and was like, oh wow, I'm stupid. But yeah, I'm bad at this, like this part here specifically, because it is actually quite difficult to get Sonic into the correct half-pipe configuration here. But eventually I do prevail, get a bunch more rings here at the end. Cool jump through the middle, excellent. Keep in the middle, I've died here before as well. Keep in the middle again. Jump over here, and now we lose the saucer and get dumped immediately into a bunch of enemies which hit you rude. The thing is, I'm pretty sure the game expects you to start boosting immediately. I just didn't realize it, and now I'm stuck in homing attacking. So yeah, let's go here, and we reach the platform again. I'm pretty sure that all of the QTEs here are deadly if you miss them, by the way. And we are back in Werehog territory, cleverly gated by a lever that only the Werehog can pull. Anything hidden here? No? Okay, let's keep going. The boiler room part. The boiler room part is awful. Like, I like this level in general. I think it's doing a lot of cool things. But these segments here, they have balancing, they have very janky platforming overall. It is also often under a time limit, as you can tell here. It's nerve-wrenching, but also it is not great. You can very easily die here. The level designers know, that's why they put a whole bunch of extra lives here, like there is 2 in a row, so you know, oh, this part is going to suck. And it's not exactly this room, though it is aided by me knowing a few speedrun tricks, which is something that you can very easily do yourself in this case, by the way. Like, I'm not glitching the game or anything, I'm just using moves, as you can tell in a second. Then you know the problem is landing on these pipes is awful, so I prefer doing this. You can also tell that these platforms here, they don't have grab rails, so if you miss your jump, you are dead. Full stop, end of story. I'm seeing something to the right here which I didn't notice the first time. There is obviously an extra part to the side, and it might be related to something you're going to see in a second. I'm not 100% positive because I haven't replayed the stage yet, but we're going to see in a bit. But for now I am taking care of these enemies again because I'm not super sure that I just need to pull the lever that we can see in the background, but you do. I have watched this before, somebody doing that who obviously knew the stage very well. And again, you can completely ignore the enemies, pull the lever as quickly as possible, a little bit of mashing, that's fine. Wow, these air attacks are trash garbage, locking you in place while the enemies is somewhere completely different, hate that. And I'm trying for a different aerial combo here. And I obviously pulled it off because, wow, there is a lot of slowdown here and I don't actually know what I just did. I think that's the opposite combo of the aerial spin attack that I always do, and it's like, yeah, let's never do this again. This sucked. I hated it. Okay. More enemies. Here we definitely have a wave, and once again, don't do this if you're playing this stage for yourself. You absolutely do not need the points from these enemies. In fact, this stage, getting an S rank in it is not that difficult. I don't get an S rank. This is not the S rank run which you're watching, because I die a little bit too much at the very end. But you can do a lot with just farming the QTEs, like here, of course, at the very end, almost after the last checkpoint. It's not that big of a deal. Also speed, also of course if you don't die at all then you probably have it shoot in, and that's not that big of a deal. And if you are speeding through this level, taking shortcuts like this, not risking fights, then of course it's even better. Anyway, if I see the camera switch correctly here, top right, this might be where that other route that we just glimpsed in the corner ends up. I don't exactly know. Thing is, like, this extra life top right, you can get up there with very, very clever abuse of the Werehog moves. That is a speedrun trick that I don't know how to do. It might be the most efficient way through here, but that's, in my opinion, probably not intended. What I also don't know regarding intentions is, like, how damn long do these flames stay on? Like, I need to move now, but the flames still stayed on. I was pretty much doomed from the moment I grabbed onto the side there, because I had mistimed it with flames that are, as we're going to see in a second, almost off screen. I don't like this at all. Like, how would I know that these flames are on for so long? Do you really expect me to stay here forever? By the way, these flames here, they go off in more quick intervals, but that means that you actually have to time them, whereas the others you can, once they are not on, go there pretty quickly through all 3 of them, but when they're on, well, they just stay on. Great job. Like, I don't like this part at all. It sucks. And also this part here, in my opinion, probably the worst part of the entire level. Like, this platforming here is awful. It's terrible. And you really don't want to do this. Getting on the sideways pipes is basically impossible. This is how I recommend doing this, by the way. Big jump and then just make it in time, otherwise I would be screwed again, of course. And so let's see, I do want this book, of course. Obviously the intended route for quick players is getting all of these 10 rings and then jumping up there, but as you could tell, the camera was doing a switch on its own again. Awful. Just this entire part here. I don't know exactly how they intended for you to do this, but it is basically impossible to do this correctly on the pipes on the side. Don't do this. Like, it's like you won't find videos of that because nobody in their right mind does it. They just skip this entire room using a few tricks because yeah, it's just terrible. As I said, don't bother with it. I am interested in that route up there. I would show it off. As I said, eventually I will just showing off all the parts of Eggmanland I miss, because this stage is great. It's worth showing off, but it's great in this particular Sonic way. Where you're like, is this actually fun? Like, most of the time, but sometimes it is very much not fun, and you just have to take the bad with the good, you know? That's just what playing Sonic is all about, in my opinion. And it's definitely what playing the Werewolf is all about. By the way, this switch turns off. I didn't know that. Like, this was that click that I kept hearing in the background, and yeah, I had to redo all of that, but I'm sparing you that, of course. That's a huge hitbox for that checkpoint. But yeah, it's just one of those things, right? So can we skip all of this? Because, you know, it looks a little bit skippable if you know your tricks. Like, jump up here and then a bit over there, and oh, I went too far, oops. I mean, I just had a checkpoint, it's fine. If you take a look at my extra lives, I started with 6, right? We are up to 11 now. I don't think this is necessarily losing that many lives at the game over gauntlet if you have a baseline of competency. No shade to people who died here this often that they did game over. I might actually have game over when I first played the game, actually. So again, absolutely no shade in this direction. But if you basically know what you're doing after a bit of practice, and if you're not rusty, because I played first time with huge pauses, for example, then this should be generally doable. The only thing is, do you have enough time in your day to actually do the whole stage without having to shut off the console? But as we keep dying, our rings will get reset, for example, and especially in the Werehog parts, you will have a bunch of 10 rings as healing lying around, like in this room. So eventually you'll get up to 100 pretty naturally, so you get replenished extra lives like this. So you get a bunch of free extra lives on the path. Like, they don't want you to game over here necessarily. The level is absolutely willing to kill you, but it also gives you plenty of extra lives. Like, this is basically a Mario Galaxy situation. They're in their hardest challenges, as long as you can get through the first minute or so consistently, they will always put a 1-up mushroom there. Once again, inviting the question, why do we even have extra lives? But you know, this is these kinds of digressions that I allow myself while we are doing tedious Werehog fights, and yeah, I am very willing to acknowledge that they are. The enemies here definitely have a little bit too much health, they take a little bit too much punishment. Of course, they also have shields and stuff, and we know what to do with shields, especially in Unleashed. Like, it's fine, they die, but it's not particularly engaging anymore. We've done this all game, you know? And the interesting thing about this is that actually the mixing of the enemies here, we basically have the same two kind of robots. The chainsaw guys, sometimes with shields, and the ranged guys, maybe a wizard or two, which is the most mixing up that we see here. But otherwise we have seen plenty of gameplay like this before. We don't have fire wizards, for example, thank Christ for that, but it's not like the most what they could do in principle, which is fine, because if the game is going out of its way to mix things up, we know what happens, and that is Arid Sands Night, and yeah, let's not talk about that anymore. But no Gaia enemies, for example, except for the wizard, so that's nice. Anyway, I really screw up this part here, so I just was willing to not talk about it. So let's try and redo this with a little bit more competence. Yeah, spoilers, I won't be that much competent. I do think that getting up here is not what is intended the way I did it. You basically want to use the momentum of the first enemy to get onto the right platform. I don't know why you can't wall jump on these. And this is what happens if they catch you. You instantly die. Much like the water spouts in other bots. If you are in front of them, in Jungle Joyride, I mean, daytime, then yeah, that's it, you're dead. Oh, so you can wall jump on the side there, but this game just doesn't want you to sometimes because the wall jumping is awful. I wanted to grab that thing up there, thank you very much, but the reticle was for different opinions, so well, let's keep going here. Up there, oh, well, that's just plain unfair. What was the point of that? Like, just push him backwards a little. That this made no sense, but at least it gives me another opportunity to go up here. You can hemorrhage lives a lot here, and actually, come to think of it, maybe the first time I played the game, I game overed here? Possible, because it's ruthless. But yeah, this top route here, for the record, skips a little bit of the platforming down there. Eventually I will show this off too as well, but for now let's just tackle the conveyor belt with a little bit of extra momentum. Sadly I didn't fall into the booster here, but I can use this one. A little bit pointless with the yellow things because you can very easily avoid having a problem by hitting the button again and again. Go down here and I screw this up completely. Obviously you have to get yourself dropped here, but I was out of rings and I died. Great stuff. So let's try this again. B to fall down, one of the few times where we actually have to do that, right? It's like, it's not very obvious. I mean, that's a perfectly fine challenge. This one here was a little bit sketchy as well, a little bit too narrow. Everything here, the jump arcs, definitely not suited to right angles. But you can get used to that. Okay, let's keep going in here, down there. Awesome camera angles, quick time event, think fast. X, that's fine. A, that's fine. These are all random and they will absolutely kill you if you miss them up. And I try boosting, try being cool, and I get immediately punished. Don't do that. Be careful in this level, okay? So yeah, we are immediately redoing this part. It's not a big deal. It's too short to cut out. As you can tell here, these are completely random, as I said. And they are already here. Don't boost, just jump. And we have a chance to redeem ourselves on the conveyor belt of doom, and I run out of ring energy. Oh, that's annoying because now I have to jump it, and that's not what I wanted to do. Great stuff. I hate it. But fortunately I don't die here. I get a few rings and I caught myself, I keep boosting, and now this is what I think I have to do. Re-boost when you land, and then I reach the end without too many problems. And now I think I know how to do the first part as well. Quick time event, and I failed the first quick time event. This is the one quick time event which you can fail in this stage. Maybe there is like a second one, don't quote me on that, but this one here I fail all the time, so that's cool. And this is my favorite room in the level. I really like this room. I think this is doing a lot with the 2D platforming. It is extremely intricate. It is very well designed in the number of paths that you can take. It is definitely showing what you can do with Sonic 2D platforming in this engine without it being too obnoxious. It is hard, of course. It's Eggmanland. Oh, that's the second quick time event, by the way. Cool, nice. Don't know what these springs are for because you can just take this trap up here. But yeah, this room here is a grand design of going in a spiral in general. We've done this before, but ascending up, generally you are relatively safe. Here is the extra life that you will always get. You have these shortcuts if you think fast, like this boost string here. You can often ignore what the springs are saying because this is Eggmanland, it hates you. If you generally know your way around this room, you can once again do it super fast. I hate these spring shield guys, they're awful. Okay, this worked as well, so now let's see if we can't get up here. Ah, bad timing, very bad timing. Ooh, dangerous. Can I get back up there again? There's an extra life up there, by the way, so again you can get a life profit if you know where everything is, but nah, this was my chance. Now the yellow platform closes behind me. This is relevant. Good timing. Fortunately, I was just going blind here for the electro guy. And here I make a crucial mistake thinking, oh, is there a secret to the left? It's like, no, this is the end of the secret. Like, obviously, duh, come on, idiot. Okay, but yeah, I can go back at least, but I do this too quickly. I wasn't waiting for the flying enemies to go back in formation, so now I have to restart this, because this is a vertical level and falling down always feels awful in these. Worse than dying somehow. Very weird psychological thing, but we've seen so many vertical levels from the very start in Mega Man levels. It's like, yeah, it's just like, just kill me instead. Anyway. This is interesting because going to the side here is actually what this path is all about. So now I'm wondering, is this actually a shortcut? Is this actually slower? I would have to check. This is a very, as I said, extremely intricate room. Lots and lots of different paths to take. Very, very fun to go around in. Not actually that bad, not super spammy, trappy or whatever. And an absolute masterclass in what you can do in this game. Alright, I almost failed that quick time and probably worse than fatal too. And now we are doing this, which we haven't done in a while. Let's get this book here. Oh no, I forgot. The acceleration is again awful. That's the biggest problem I have with this engine, is that either you don't move at all or you move at light speed when you press the button. But at least I didn't get hit there, so there are some skills here to pay the bills. Have to replay it anyway. I definitely noticed that I missed a record somewhere. Now this I remember. Your reflex is to get Werhogged, get this lever. Don't do it. Jump up here, and you get a secret shortcut where you avoid an entire Werhog section. It's brilliant. And also this shortcut here, did you notice that there were laser generators at the bottom of the wall jump segment? Yeah, you only have one chance. If you ever fall down there because you get hit by the neon source, then that's it. You have to do the Werhog segment. Haha. Yeah, I'll show this off eventually, and you can't avoid being a Werhog after this, because you have to change here. And I'm like, so where is the lever? It's like, no, this door doesn't require a lever. It just looks the same as the other doors, but you can just open this because there's a handle. Good stuff. But arguably this shortcut still skips a lot of stuff. The 10-minute video I've seen actually doesn't do that, very interestingly, because the Werhog segment that we just avoided in this video is not that long if you know how to break it. It is, however, and I know this because I did that the first time I played this level, and this is the end of it, by the way. I'm a little bit confused. I'm like, actually, this is where you end up if you do that part of the level. But it is kind of tedious if you don't know how to break it, because you have to go one direction, push a button, then go the other direction. Yeah, it's a little bit... but yeah, you will always end up in this room, but the way you can choose these paths, and you can use a shortcut that definitely is intended as a shortcut, because again, if you don't skip the Werhog section, inside the Werhog section, I mean, if you don't use skips within the Werhog section, this made the most sense to me, then it is fairly long and involved, and I completely overlooked that there is a full heal ring in the back. I could really have used that, because there's a bunch of enemies here. And this room is also a somewhat infamous room. I've definitely heard people complain about that. And I know that I have been gotten by this room in the past, because I just like remember, like, wait a second. The enemies are respawning constantly. There is something to this room. There's a gimmick here, right? Maybe I need to fill up on unleashed juice and then do something that can only work when you're unleashed. Here, there's the enemies respawning. Like, at this point, I'm like, wait a second. The enemies don't actually give unleashed juice. They also don't give experience, so that's not it, right? That's not it. And then, like, I don't know why I keep forgetting this, because I have done this before, like 2 times. I have watched videos about this at some point, Let's Plays, where people also got stumped by this room. And it is devious, because it is a secret that is hidden in plain sight off camera. You just have to look for it. But if you're busy with the respawning enemy tube, then you don't realize that here it is. This is breakable. And this looks like a laser barrier, so it is, again, rather nasty, actually, and I'm not sure how to feel about this. It is a puzzle in a way that we really haven't seen before, and I mean, it's perfectly acceptable to have a new puzzle, right? That's what puzzles are all about, figuring stuff out that you didn't know about before, but also, because of the constantly respawning enemies, you might be misled, thinking like, oh yeah, you know, when enemies constantly respawn, that means that I have to do something with these enemies. No, they're just here as an obstacle. Yeah. So I'm now beaten up a lot in trying to get these 10 rings to heal up, but it doesn't work like that for me. At least I got the extra life. At least I got the checkpoint, so that's nice. And I immediately fall into more blades and get cut up more. Oh, annoying, terrible, difficult. And here you can tell that you have some grace, because these wall hanging things, that's very nice that they exist. Like, if there was a hard mode version of this, they probably would just cut these out, because you can definitely do this room without using them. It would just suck. because you have to then grab onto the enemies all the time, make sure that the electrified ones don't hit you. Yeah, I've seen the laser barrier now and I realize, oh yeah, I forgot about this room. It's less memorable than the puzzle room beforehand, but what you have to do is just kill all the enemies and then something happens, which again is something that is not immediately obvious, because these guys serve as platforming help most of the time. Here, however, you need to kill them. And they are using the smiling, laughing Eggman face, complete with the troll sound effect from if you hit the Eggman spring, to indicate that you beat the puzzle. That is so nice. It's such a great touch. Like, overall, I haven't mentioned yet, but the aesthetics of this level, phenomenal. Maybe not these in the guts of the machine parts. This doesn't look that good. But even the boiler room, which I otherwise hate, like it's bright, lava eats cool. And you have these segments here with the transparent yellow tube that you're going down, and it looks different than the tube before. And then you have this room, which again is a huge room, just like we haven't seen anything like this. And now we are basically doing a spiral on the side again, but as the Werehog, thank Christ for this refilling station, by the way, where these ominous glowing things that invoke the lava again, but you show off where all the lighting in this room is coming from. I screwed this up. I could have gone more up, obviously. There's a shortcut there. But this room too looks absolutely amazing, I feel like. And overall, how varied this level is absolutely unprecedented in aesthetics. You can tell they really poured their heart and soul in there. Here another tube, just for fun. I'm doing a little skip here, and now it's a blue tube, no longer as orange, because we are going down to a cooler part of this insane fortress theme park thing. Like, overall, as I said, this is phenomenal. Wow, this was close shave, huh? So fast. And these ones here, can I get the extra life? No, but I'm very, very proud of myself for avoiding damage entirely in that tube. Awesome. Alright, so another robot factory part here, and again you can really tell, like, this place makes sense, right? This is where Eggman is building robots using energy that he's extracting from the planet. Like, that's his entire plan. We can see it in motion here. He has basically won. This is what he wants. Now we are here to destroy his dreams, basically, which is something we do often, but he has basically already realized them. And you can see how the energy is being processed, how it is being fed through tubes into the robot factory itself. It's all great stuff. Like, this is environmental storytelling in an insanely rough platforming level. They didn't have to go this hard, but by God did they do it, and do I love them for it. Like, this is brilliant. You say what you want about this level. It has its rough parts, definitely. I have complained about a bunch of them. Like, this is not a perfect level. I would change quite a few things there, like nix the boiler room. It's awful. But just the level of commitment on display here and how well they managed to pull most of this off deserves the highest praise in my opinion. And I am fully positive on Eggmanland overall. It is grueling, it is so much, but it needs to be that, because this is a climax. It is a culmination of this game's, what this game is completely about in story, in gameplay. It shows off the best parts of the daytime Sonic segments, the best parts of the Werehog segments. It is sometimes a little bit too tough, a little bit too trolly for its own good, maybe. But on the other hand, again, I deeply respect them just going for it. And we are almost done, as you can tell from the video. We have one final gauntlet of enemies here, and if you thought the big guy was going to be the last obstacle, oh, you got another thing coming, because we have already opened the door. We didn't even have to kill the chaff here. Another lever, which honestly is a little bit pointless in my opinion. You could just not have a lever here, but maybe this also adds to the trepidation. As you enter the final room, and in the back you can see the Gaia gate of the final temple, because as you know, Eggmanland is built on top of the Gaia temple. That is something that was mentioned in the cutscene before. And now we can take care of these guys and make a fatal mistake here, screw up this quick time event. This could have gone so much more smoothly, because now I'm losing Unleashedheads. I am getting bullied by wave after wave of off-screen attacks here, and it's going to be a bad time following this, because these guys here, if you fight them fairly, are awful to fight. And I actually ran out of shields. Fancy that. I have to wait for them to recharge, and this did not hit me. Come on, it was already dissipating. But yeah, these enemies could be programmed a little bit better, have their hitboxes a little bit clearer for their attacks especially. Overall a bad time. And here, while I'm doing the quick time event, an off-screen wizard filled up the health of the dude, and immediately this caused the quick time event timing to be almost impossible. I did not see that coming. I mean, well played game. This is why it spawns these guys in conjunction with a bunch of wizards. But did I like this? Oh, absolutely not. They seem to be immune to each other's shockwaves, by the way, or barely take any damage from them. They are not immune, however, to each other's clubs. They do definitely have friendly fire on here, and they do eventually kill some of the wizards, because we are never going to see this wizard again, which is fun. This is basically... oh, we do see him again, but he's going to get taken out by his own guys, I'm pretty sure. Eventually. Do I misremember? Doesn't really matter. Anyway, this is a very tough encounter, and it is... ah, there it is. This was not my damage. This is very difficult to deal with, as you can tell. If they're covering each other, oof. But this guy suddenly almost had no health left, so yes, they can definitely kill each other. And there is another wizard spawning in, so that's great. Let's get rid of this guy as soon as I'm not getting stuck on nothing on the floor. Cool. But by this point I realized, wait a second, I'm full on Unleashed juice, so let's do that, because then we can finally stop this farce here. And god damn it, I was running away, I was about to jump. Ah, these hitboxes. Okay, now I'm completely full and I'm boosting up, and this guy doesn't know where I am, so let's just obliterate him. Again, if I come here with full Unleashed juice, know to prioritize the wizard, don't screw up the quick time, it's not that bad. Hindsight is 2020, but this was it, the final climax, unlocking the Gaia Gate for us, one final round of picking up stuff, and while I'm going to 40 minutes of level time, not an S rank, not close by the way, 600,000, I looked it up, so don't worry about this, I'm not like hitting myself because I barely not made it. There is a cutscene directly afterwards. For pacing, decided to cut it. We're going to put this in front of the next video where we're going to fight the boss, but generally we are going to be put into the boss fight immediately after the following cutscene, just to let you know. For now, however, take a deep breath. Thank you very much for your attention.